Redress, relief, remedy. Money, damages, as opposed to equitable relief, is the only redress available. A means of seeking relief or remedy. Oh. If the statute of limitations has run, the plaintiff is without redress. Now, you have the penal redress, a form of penal liability requiring full compensation of the injured person as an instrument for punishing the offender. Compensation paid to the injured person for the full value of the loss, an amount that may far exceed the wrongdoer's benefit. Oh, then there's the restitutionary redress. Money paid to one who has been injured, the amount being the pecuniary value of the benefit to the wrongdoer. See restitution. Now, I just wanted to look at this redress that you're refusing to acknowledge. Yeah. Not only am I injured, but the minors named were injured also. Yes. And this fraud of issuing court orders without any due process, right? Without any notice of court hearings, yes. Without any protections to them as the minors named. They're in the wrong grades, yeah. And Deacon is over the age of 14, Zachary's over the age of 14, and Bishop's over the age of 14, yes. Because he was 11 years old at the time that you issued this, Pope. This fraud means that there is no statute of limitations. I told you that. Where you as a judge said, well, I can just issue the dissolution. Well, it looks like they have a lot of rights that are being violated right now. See, it was 3 years and 3 months ago. Deacon is over 14 years old. Zachary is 17. Bishop is 16. Deacon is 15. Yeah, he's in the 8th grade. Oh. Now, I was not given any notice of the hearing. No. The petitioner didn't acknowledge it. Used forgeries. Yes. And I informed the civil rights coordinator, 600 of them, and every one of them sat there and said, well, we don't have to do anything. Now, it looks to me like 2 of them have the availability of emancipation. Yes. But they do not have the right to child support after they do that. Now, the nice part is they could sue me for back child support, or did the state decide to pay? When you issued the dissolution of marriage, did you take into consideration how it would affect the 5 minors named? That you gave custody of them to my wife without any protections of the law. Now, I would say, yes, that they have the right to relief and remedy. Yes, they have the right to restitution. Ouch. They have the right to sue each and every judge. Ouch. Just like I do. Now, I'm just making sure you understand that there is no statute of limitations. And then the state of Washington, Supreme Court of the state of Washington, each and every one of the Superior Court justices of the state of Washington, you're telling me that you're not personally liable. They've been in the wrong grades for 7.5 years. At the age of 14 years old, they had the legal right to use the judicial system of the United States. Yes. With relative, friend, or guardian. Yes. They have the legal right to sue each and every oath, badge, and attorney in this nation. And your answer to every fucking problem is, we don't have to do anything. I think you do. I think you do have to do something. I think you have to remove the fraud of this protection order. I think you have to remove the dissolution of marriage. Yes. I think you have to remove my sons from that school. Yes. Because they're in the wrong grades. I think you have to enable them to use the judicial system. Does every fucking judge of the United States of America understand you have to do what the law says? These 5 minors named, yes, Zachary, Bishop, Deacon, Maximilian, and Benjamin, yes, They all have to be allowed to use the court system of the United States. Now, I told you that I wanted them. I said, give them to me. Poop. I said I was going to sue you. Yeah. For forgery. Yes. For fraud. Yes. For deception. Yes. For extortion. For coercion. Ooch. For conspiracy. Yes. For kidnapping. For child abduction. For neglect of children. For the abuse of children. And every mandatory reporter in the United States said, no, it's a requirement of law that you have to report to law enforcement any fraud, any abuse, any false arrest, any false imprisonment, the obstruction of my right to call them witnesses as well. For all of you that thought that I was upset, pooh, it looks like you've obstructed their redress to money damages. Now, they might be minors, right? But there is this whole idea of the rule of justice, a jurisprudential principle that determines the sphere of individual liberty in the pursuit of individual welfare, so as to confine that liberty within the limits that are consistent with the general welfare of humankind. Yes. Now, for the general welfare, poop, you have constrained their liberty from the time that they are 14 years old. You have obstructed their right to speak to me as their father. Yes. You've obstructed their right to use the judicial system of the United States. And you have violated the rule of justice. Now, this liberty where I said, yes, they should be living with me because of the fraud of the issuance of the dissolution of marriage and the protection orders. And you said they could not use the actual courts of the United States. How the fuck is it that any employee of this government doesn't realize that they have the legal right to use the courts? After the age of 14 years old, they have the fucking legal right. The rule of justice, life, liberty, and property, the pursuit of happiness, all of the constitutional violations that should be enforced and are guarantees that you would never take children from their parents or parents from their children. Yes, without the